Can the reporter please swear in the witness?
Sure. Sir, would you please raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you solemnly declare and affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, my clock.
All right, this is Anthony Bernal. A name you probably don't know, a name most people don't know, a name most people didn't know at all, unless you were the inner circle of the White House during the Biden administration. He was Jill Biden's chief of staff, and apparently he was the guy. And I think it was James O'Keefe that had a video that I always forget the kid's name, but he was relatively high in the DNC, and he said this was the guy. This was the guy everyone was afraid of. This was the guy running the show. This was the guy, from the allegations that they're making that were utilizing the auto pen. This was the guy that was essentially running the country, for better or for worse. And just take a quick look. So most of these clips that you're seeing on the internet, they're little snippets. I want to try to take this for as long as I can. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. And I've cut out all the middle. So the beginning 10 minutes of this thing is just talking like everyone's name in the room. He's got a massive amount of lawyers in the room there with him. The people that are interviewing him during the deposition. Let's just hear really quickly how this goes. It flies off the rails right away. Well, it doesn't fly off the rails, but you'll get what I'm saying.
Reads 10:10. The majority's hour will begin now. Mr. Bernal, did you ever advise President Joe Biden to pardon his son, Hunter Biden?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Thank you. We're going to go off the record real quick. Okay, we'll go back on the record. Mr. Bernal, was President Joe Biden fit to exercise the duties of the president?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Bernal has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Mr. Bernal, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
So, do you refuse to answer the question because it will incriminate you? And he's evoking the Fifth Amendment because of that question. That should be pretty clear as to what the answer is. I'm not sure if I can really read between the lines. I don't know if I can, I mean, if I was a betting man, I would say he's probably trying to avoid incriminating himself, which means if it's a yes or no answer, or if the answer is basically saying, did you do X? And you're saying, yeah, I'm not going to answer that. You probably did X. And again, in a court of law, that cannot be the assumption, right? And that's a very difficult thing for a jury to understand and stuff like that. But generally speaking, the general public understands that if they ask you, did you cross the street? And if you crossing the street means you were incriminating yourself, and you say, I invoke my Fifth Amendment, it means you crossed the street, right? We all know that, right? Because if you didn't cross the street, if crossing the street is the crime, and somebody asks you, did you cross the street? Then you would just say, I didn't cross the street, because then you're saying I didn't commit the crime. If you're saying, I invoke my Fifth Amendment, that means you crossed the street. So again, go with me here. This is pretty interesting. A lot of people just do snippets. Let's see how far we can get.
Mr. Bernal, did any unelected official or family member of President Joe Biden execute the duties of the presidency?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Bernal has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Mr. Bernal, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Mr. Bernal, did President Joe Biden ever instruct you to lie regarding his health at any time, including but not limited in your testimony to Congress today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Bernal has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Mr. Bernal, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Mr. Bernal, is it your intention to decline to answer all questions put to you today by the committee on the basis of the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination?
I can represent that is his intention.
Thank you. Does the minority wish to ask questions? Yes, we do. Go off the record.
Yeah, this is where we're going with this, man.
All right, we're back on the record. Would the members who
crazy
just
stuff.
came into the room identify themselves, starting with Mr. Donald?
Byron Donalds, member of Congress, Florida's 19th district.
And Jasmine Crockett, Texas 30.
Mr. Bernal, good morning. Mr. Sue, you weren't afforded the opportunity to make a statement by the majority. Would you like to make that statement now?
Yes, thanks very much. Chairman Comer, Ranking Member Garcia, and members of the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability. Mr. Bernal appears before you today fulfilling his obligations to the committee. In Arizona.
Stop. So, this is his lawyer reading his opening statement. He doesn't even trust himself to read his opening statement. The guy doesn't want to say anything except for, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. That's pretty alarming. It's pretty concerning, right? This should be a pretty big tell. This thing should be everywhere, and it's nowhere. As I look, I mean, it's in dribs and drabs here and there, but for the most part.
A native, Mr. Bernal has served with distinction in 3 presidential administrations, most recently as Assistant to the President and Chief of Staff to the First Lady. Mr. Bernal is rightfully proud of his service to the nation. The committee has sought testimony from Mr. Bernal for nearly 2 years without any actual evidence of wrongdoing by Mr. Bernal. Most recently, the committee seeks Mr. Bernal's testimony based on a purported controversy regarding the use of the auto pen at the conclusion of President Biden's term. President Biden has already confirmed that he personally made all decisions.
This guy is the definition of a swamp creature, right? Like, he was already in the mix. He knew what to do, how to do it, where to get it, where to go, and he saw his opportunity with Professor Dr. Biden. And together they ran the show, and that's why they were pissed when Joe got nixed. When Joe got removed, Joe got the call. Joe, these were probably the ones that were the most pissed because they knew they were going to lose all that power.
Concerning his grants of clemency. While the committee only recently began its auto pen investigation, the chairman has already declared that this matter is, quote, the biggest scandal in Oval Office history, end quote. In addition, on June 4th, 2025, the White House directed the Department of Justice to open a criminal investigation into this matter. The chairman has acknowledged that, quote, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi has announced an investigation at the Department of Justice, so we're very interested, end quote. Under these circumstances, it is entirely appropriate and justified for Mr. Bernal to invoke his rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution. In Ohio v. Reiner, the U.S. Supreme Court explained that one of the Fifth Amendment's, quote, basic functions is to protect innocent men who otherwise might be ensnared by ambiguous circumstances, end quote. The record is also clear that persons of the full range of the political spectrum in recent and historical congressional investigations have invoked their Fifth Amendment rights to decline to answer questions from Congress. Any suggestion that such an invocation is itself evidence of wrongdoing would be highly irresponsible and flatly wrong, particularly from those elected to represent the people and uphold the Constitution. For these reasons, Mr. Bernal respectfully declines to answer any of the committee's questions today in today's deposition, and thank you for the opportunity to provide the statement.
See, and here's what I don't understand. I'm not a lawyer. I wish I had one on, maybe I'll get one on staff down the road. I can't understand how you can just unilaterally say, I'm not going to answer anything because of the Fifth Amendment, because then that's implying that everything, you don't know what they're going to ask you, right? If you're in a deposition and they say, well, what color is your hair? You can't say that's your Fifth Amendment right? Because the color of your, it's a subjective, it's a reality point, right? It's part of your body. You know what color it is, and you can say that. You can't just come to a deposition. I mean, maybe you can. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'll get one on the payroll down the road. But I don't see how you can just come to a deposition and just say, I'm not going to answer anything you have to say because of self-incrimination.
I'm entering as Exhibit A an April 1st, 2025 New York Times article titled, Trump Allied Prosecutor Looks to Undermine Biden Pardons, which describes a Justice Department investigation that, quote, uses the levers of federal law enforcement to try to harass Mr. Biden's family and allies and undermine his decisions as president, while scoring political points with President Trump, end quote. I'm also going to mark as Exhibit B a May 13th, 2025 ABC News article titled, Ed Martin, Trump's DOJ pardon attorney, says he'll review Biden's outgoing pardons, which quotes Mr. Martin as saying that if the targets of his investigation, quote, can be charged, we'll charge them. But if they can't be charged, we will name them, and we will name them, end quote.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing to me. I think somebody's going to get to the bottom of this. At least I hope they do, because I don't know, man.
I'm also going to enter as Exhibit C a May 20th, 2025 Truth Social post by President Trump, in which President Trump describes the use of the auto pen during the Biden administration as, quote, treason at the highest level, end quote, and writes that, quote, something very severe should happen to these treasonous thugs, end quote. I'm also going to ask the court reporter to mark as Exhibit D the majority's letter to Mr. Bernal, sent 2 days later.
Yeah. So he was talking about the auto pen, and Bernal was essentially was the guy using the auto pen. You know, I mean, he's gonna have to figure out. I guess he can declare presidential immunity. There's a lot of stuff that's going on here. I mean, this is not an easy topic. There's a lot of probably really sharp legal minds that are.
I'm entering as Exhibit
Trying to
D
figure this out.
a presidential memorandum dated June 4th, 2025, which, among other things, directs the counsel to the president, in consultation with the attorney general,
But
to
essentially-
investigate the allegations that the majority.
Essentially, that's it. He goes there. He goes to the deposition. I'm sure they already knew this was going to be the outcome. These are also, the people that are questioning him, the people that are doing this research and going through the possible questions to ask him. They're all legal minds. They know it's coming down. And they can see the team that he walked in there with. Again, in the beginning, they're naming everybody that's representing him. It sounded like there was like 10 people in there, like 10 attorneys in there. It's wild, right? They have the full legal weight of I don't know what behind this guy so that this shit doesn't come out, right? They're going to bury this. This will never see the light of day. This is close to accountability as this guy will probably ever get, unfortunately. And how do we change it? I don't know. Maybe we talk about it. Maybe we get outraged about it. Maybe, we tell our family, we tell our friends, we get them to realize that stuff like this is going on. And maybe just bringing it to light, like starts a little bit of the disinfectant process. Maybe that's the beginning of it. How you scrub it out, how you, immunize yourself from this. I'm just tripping over the word right now. I'm not really sure. But at the very least, you got to start getting this stuff out there. And this is out now. Let's see, how long has this been out for? It's been out for 3 days now. And I mean, I've seen drips and drabs from it from a couple of spots, but yeah, this thing is wild. It really is wild. It's astonishing. It should be out there everywhere. People should know that this guy is not able to say, without committing a crime, that was Joe Biden. Were you hiding the fact that Joe Biden was completely gone, like mentally gone? Like you were the one in controlling all, the majority of the White House at a certain point. And let's see what happens. Guys, if you're still here with me, I was supposed to ask you about 8 minutes ago to like, share, and subscribe. If you're still here, I appreciate it. I really do. Please subscribe to the channel. Throw in a like. If you can't follow me on 6283talk on X, you can follow me, throw up comments, throw up some posts. Have a good time, and we'll see you again on the next video. Thanks a lot. Take care.